Paul and Shannon and their kids came to us at the shelter on Labor Day after a long spring and summer in several Ramsey County programs for families in homelessness. Labor Day was when the new Hope for the Journey Home shelter opened in the former rectory at Guardian Angels Church in Oakdale. To get jobs and find housing they could afford, those were the goals for Paul and Shannon. Paul got hired as a cook by a Red Robin, and Shannon found a job driving school bus. It took them until mid-November to get rental housing in place, but they did it. For most of us, it's been about 3 years now since we started hearing about growing homelessness in our midst. St. Andrew's Lutheran Church, right here in Mahtomedi, chose homelessness as their main focus for local mission, and then stepped forward to fund it. So they were able to open the Community Resource Center early in 2011. People with many kinds of needs can drop in there for assistance or referral, but we soon found out that it was taking in homeless families, sheltering them in motels and providing case management that became the major focus. Meanwhile, 2 other women and I from Guardian Angels heard about this effort. So we invited Kelly Cardinal, the director of the Community Resource Center, to speak at a forum we were holding on this issue. We invited all the churches of Washington County, and about 90 people showed up. They signed in, and we kept their names in the hope that something could happen. That fall, we 3, along with Kelly and Pastor Sarah Breckenridge from St. Andrews, began meeting monthly along with 3 other interested persons from Washington County. Our goal was to come up with ways that all the churches could work together to meet this growing need. By winter, it became apparent that putting the families in motels needed an alternative. The women, religious women who had lived in the former rectory at Guardian Angels, had moved out, leaving that 7,000 square foot home available. Well, maybe not available to us, but it was empty and so inviting. So we prayed and hoped and asked ourselves, what if? What if this empty house could become our shelter for families? Doors began to open before us. I will never forget Pastor Sarah walking through the 3 floors of the house with her clipboard saying, "I see 8 bedrooms." And 8 bedrooms there now are. 1 for each of 7 families and 1 for the overnight hosts. The call went out for volunteers to come forward in late June to fill in 8 committees that were needed to get the house ready. There they are, hard at work. The pastor and the parish administrator were unflinching in their support. So the work was underway, donations of furniture and supplies poured in, grants were written, and we opened on schedule on Labor Day to Paul and Shannon and their 3 daughters, 3 other families, and in no time, we were at our 7-family capacity. We are partnered with St. Andrews. St. Andrews at the Community Resource Center has the families from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on weekdays. You will see adults at computers looking for work or preparing for job interviews or eventually looking for housing. At the shelter end, we have the families from 3 p.m. to 9 a.m. They get after-school snacks, homework help, dinner, playtime, a place to relax, comfortable beds, breakfast, and everyone's out the door by 9 a.m. Actually it's over 30 churches. Each take a week providing the staffing. And it's fairly common at the end of a shift for a volunteer to say, with some amazement, "They're just like us." When I talked to Shannon last month, she told me she had recently completed all the training and the tests and had her Class A license. Her wages had just doubled. I can drive a semi now, she rejoiced over the phone. Next step, dumping loads. Doesn't that sound like a member of our own families? Trying to improve their skills so they can move up the salary ladder? Most of our families come from suburban Ramsey or Washington counties. But where can they live when they leave the shelter? Where can they find housing that's affordable? When we think of affordable rental, many times it's going to be in the urban centers of Ramsey or Hennepin counties. And affordable housing right now is very hard to find. Now, our families are not without funds because at this point they're working. They're getting their lodging and their food at the shelter. So they're saving their money and they're eager to get out and get on their own if housing could be found. We know there's a shortage of rental these days, and especially affordable rental. So the question emerges, why is there not more affordable housing in the suburban areas? Are we afraid of something? What can we learn? I have learned that when I think of a family coming out of homelessness, I think of someone like Paul and Shannon and their kids. They would fit in my neighborhood. I've learned it takes just one medical crisis, or one divorce, or one job loss leading to foreclosure to fall from security into homelessness. The children who are at our Hope for the Journey Home shelter attend the Washington County schools. This is Skyview, pictured as nearby the shelter. They love it there. They're flourishing. The staff are attentive to their needs. How wonderful it would be if they could find housing in one of those school districts. And it's not just families in homelessness who can't live here. The young teachers in our school system, the deputies serving our communities, and some of the young adults who grew up here do not have affordable housing. Woodbury is getting accolades for the work they have done on affordable housing because they made it a city plan that the builders had to include smaller homes. We have very little space left in our town to put in additional housing, but what if we took it as a goal that we would do this? The children I have met, well, here we have the Wildwood site, which is going to be open for development. And will it have anything affordable, anything smaller? The children I have met the last 7 months would love to grow up here.